Well, good evening. It's nice to have you here. It was nice today to have a little bit of reprieve from the heat.
Yes.
Take advantage of it because we're going right back up. So it's nice to have you here, especially those who are new. It's good to have you here, Linda. And you're not going to sit next to your neighbor?
I can.
Okay. All right. And as far as any other first attendees, I don't see any tonight, so it's good to have you here. The minutes from last month are on the table, and you can pick those up. Our treasurer's report, wait a minute. Are we supposed to get a check this month? Okay, wrong person. We are supposed to get a check this month. But anyway, we are spending money now because we are prepping and getting everything ready for National Night Out. So once again, you are invited to National Night Out. It'll be over at C on August 6th, which is the first Tuesday. And they always have National Night Out on the first Tuesday of August. So I'd like to have you there. We're going to be serving food. It's going to be free. We've got a lot of activities that are taking place. And definitely more community involvement this year. I think, you know, as we get out of COVID, more and more people are willing to jump on board. I'd like to, at this time, which one's going to speak?
Oh, I'll speak.
Okay. Look at that, they're jumping up now. All right.
You guys do with the cops, or you all sit in the back? You're scared, huh?
Yeah.
Should I talk in the mic? What are we doing?
Do you want a mic?
No, I'm totally kidding.
Okay, I have one if you need.
No, I'm just teasing. Let me turn my radio off though, so I'm not listening to people talk in my ear. Thank you folks for having us. My name is Kyle Shoberg, and I'm the sergeant of the Impact team, and I will explain to you all what that is here in just a minute if you haven't heard. How we're kind of revamping that team and what we're doing with it. It kind of works in two facets now. I've been accompanied by Lieutenant Ken Lewis tonight, so if you guys, I saw most of you chatting and talking to him, so thanks for coming tonight. I'll get to you guys' questions at the very end, but let me introduce a little bit about, well, first let me pitch the National Night Out. Have you guys all attended that before?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, I assume so, right? So we are open for registration for that, and if you guys haven't, we're asking that you go to the citrusheightspd.net website. There's a little banner at the top of the, on the top of the website that says National Night Out. It's very easy to recognize. All you have to do is click it and register for all of you to attend the National Night Out. I'm not sure if you guys have done that yet. If you haven't, you have done it. Perfect. So we want to make sure that everybody's going to be there. It's August 6th. I don't need to tell you guys this, it's an awesome event. We're all going to be out there. A lot of us show for different stakeholders around from the city council members, and we get to go touch base with everybody. So it's a really good time to touch base with the city side. That includes city staff and the PD. Ask us questions, ask what's going on in your community, and just get to know your neighbors. You know, the saying goes, if you see something, say something. Statistics do show that if you do know your neighbors and you're friends with everybody in the neighborhood and everyone kind of gets out and is comfortable with one another, crime does go down in your neighborhood because neighbors are more apt to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on in the neighborhood and pay attention to your neighbor's house. You know who probably should or shouldn't be there. If something suspicious is happening, we encourage you guys all to give us a call, and we can always go out there and check it out. And if it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, then we will handle it. So encourage you guys to go out, do that, meet your neighbors, and eat good food. I will say, I'll share this funny story. Last year, I felt really bad for this guy over on Indian River on the other side of Greenback. That poor guy was outside cooking, barbecuing with his nice brand new Traeger grill all day long for the entire neighborhood. And we were there with the fire guys, and what happens? His entire Traeger went up in flames. So two things. One, the fire guys got to look cooler than us because they got a little bit of action. And two, the guy lost his Traeger, and I felt horrible. So let's not let that happen again. I'm hoping some people maybe pitched in the neighborhood and bought him a new one, because those are about $1,000.
Yes.
So anyways, that's my little story about National Night Out last year. We'll get back to the fire guys. All right, so a little bit about the impact unit and what we do. Like I said, I'm the supervisor of the team, and we're kind of operating two different facets. We're really focusing hard on the blight and the beautification of the city of Citrus Heights, as you guys have probably seen. And a team of officers are rolling out with the beautification crew, and those are the guys in the big truck. They're involved with the See, Click, Fix app, if you guys are familiar with that. If you're not, I can answer those questions. And they are heavily focused all day long on the blight and community issues out in the community of Citrus Heights. I think they've, probably in the last 6 months since we've kind of bifurcated our unit a little bit, they've made a huge dent, and I hope that you guys have all seen it, in helping with the homelessness, trash, shopping carts that are abandoned with trash piled up in it. Unfortunately, we see that stuff everywhere, and they do a really good job of going out every single day, and they're doing a lot of the things that a lot of us don't want to do, and that's dealing with a lot of just gross, nasty trash that a lot of these transients leave behind. Have you guys noticed a difference? Are you seeing a little bit of improvement with any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Good, that's encouraging for us to know, because we're really hitting that hard. And that's one of the primary focuses of what our team does. The other part of it is the crime suppression part of it. So part of that means going out in the community, talking to some of these people that we're arresting, figuring out who's who in the zoo, maybe who's dealing drugs where, causing blight to come into neighborhoods. If you have somebody that's got a lot of short stay traffic at their house, that might mean that they're bringing less desirables into your neighborhood. Maybe they're selling drugs. That's where we come in, we'll investigate it, and hopefully bring that to an end. We've been very successful doing that. So if you guys see something, or you suspect that somebody in your neighborhood is up to no good, a lot of ratty looking cars, people coming and going all night, or all hours of the day, those are all not normal activities. Which then ultimately brings people into your neighborhoods that you don't want there, okay? So we encourage you to call us. We have an email, PD Impact. If you want to email us and give us tips for anything, it's pdimpact@citrusheights.net. Feel free to do that. We vet all of those out. I put eyeballs on all of them, and we'll take it from there. Let's see here. Any questions about that? Kind of what, in terms of what we do for the impact team?
How large is your team?
So right now we are working with 4 on my side of the crime suppression team. We actually were fortunate to promote 2 guys on my team to corporal, which is 1 step below a sergeant position. Those guys are trying to promote up to sergeant. So they're actually going to be rolling out to patrol in a corporal capacity for leadership roles. So that'll leave me with 2 guys on my team, on the crime suppression team, plus myself. Plus we have 2 full-time beautification crew working for the blight. So 4 plus myself right now. We're slated for 6.
So if you get a call on Blythe,
Mm-hmm.
you don't send them over, the 2 cleanup guys over by themselves, do you?
No, we don't. We learned through this process with the city and city council that the beautification crew really was optimized a lot better and was more efficient in sending a couple officers out there with them. A lot of these transients can be dangerous. You know, a lot of them have weapons. Unfortunately, a lot of them use illicit drugs, alcohol, and we didn't, when we're sending civilian staff members out there, we want to ensure that they're safe. And so the best way to do that is to send officers out there, and then for the accountability piece of it, if we have bad actors in our community who don't want to obey by the rules, then that's where we come in and we're able to hold them accountable, issue them a citation. If we need to take them to jail, we'll take them to jail. But the law enforcement piece of it is the accountability. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Come on. No more questions about the impact team?
Yes, a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you on the city website or anywhere report out your percentage of improvement or number of calls out or anything like that, so we can have kind of a tracking or kind of a
Like a
gauge?
metric?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metric.
It's a big
That's
word,
the
right?
word. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. Working on my master's. Just kidding. Yeah, we actually don't have a metric right now. We keep track of that actually internally. And then every year we actually report to our chief of police, who then reports to city council. They keep track of they'll have that metric. But as far as it being on a website, it's not there. That is a good point, and you know, that's always something that we could look forward to doing. This
But
whole
on social, you guys post.
Oh, on social media, yeah, we'll post stuff on social media, and if you're active on social media, we'll post things like, you know, how many arrests were made, not just from my team, but for just citywide, for the police department. How many citations were issued for the month? How many people were arrested, felonies, misdemeanors, all those things. So our lovely social media gal, Larissa, she actually had a baby. So she's been out on baby leave. So we have had people fill in for that. So if you've seen a but maybe a difference in our social media, we have people that are, you know, picking up the puzzle pieces while she's out. So social media is a beast. It's an undertaking. And when you're talking about a government entity like the city's, you know, police department page, there's certain laws and stuff that we actually have to obey by that the average person does not. And so it's an undertaking for sure. But yeah, we try to be transparent in what we're doing, keeping everybody apprised. So what else?
Last one.
Yeah.
Do you communicate out what kind of things you're looking for that, let's say, a homeowner in a neighborhood could call you? Like the question I always hear, who do I call for this, or who do I call for that? I know you have your general non-emergency number, and I usually direct them to do that.
Yeah, that, you know, honestly, that's the easiest.
Okay.
The more numbers you give people and direct people to do different things, it's confusing.
Yeah, okay, good.
I always tell everybody, call our non-emergency number.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it's an emergency, you call 911. But, you know, like if you saw somebody breaking into a car, a house, or that would be a 911 type call. But for that, I keep it simple. We call our non-emergency number, 916-727-5500. That goes to our dispatch comm center.
Okay.
And they can decipher where that caller needs to go. If it's to me, they can direct them to me. If it's to a watch commander, they'll forward that. Yeah, so just keep it simple. One number, we'll filter it from there.
Okay, it's usually a car that's parked and left for months in front of their house. That's
I'll
usually-
definitely call 727.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause we have actually, we have a group of people that
Yeah,
actually.
take care of
go out
that,
and-
yeah, okay, that's
Well,
just
do that.
kind of one.
Yeah, we have a pretty robust volunteer team that actually deal with parking enforcement complaints.
Yeah,
So if you guys have that, you can go online, either on our website and fill out a form and it'll get routed to them, or you just call that number and they will make sure that the volunteers get it, and they go out every single day and they follow up on all of those.
Okay.
So, yeah, abandoned cars, I mean, it's like an abandoned cart with trash in it. Like, nobody wants to see that. You don't want that in your neighborhood.
yeah.
So yeah, call us, we'll deal with it. Yeah. Come on, don't let her beat you guys out with questions. Alright, so aside from the impact team, do you guys have any questions about anything that I can answer for you? Now remember, some of the stuff we do is a secret, and if I tell you, I'd have to, you know, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
I have a question, it's a little bit specific, but I was wondering with regard to, calls from the Sunrise Point, complex.
Yeah.
Is their call ratio to the number of units, which is 49, is it high? Do you consider it high?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would absolutely say it's high. We've been in constant communication with their director. I personally have, and I know some of our lieutenants have as well. And albeit I know as frustrating as that was when they moved in and we were having obviously a lot of problems, there's no denying that. They ensured us that the way those programs work takes about 18-ish months for things to kind of settle down a little bit. I'm not sure, it seems as actually if it has kind of fizzled down a little bit as far as calls for us. I don't know what you guys are out there seeing. You guys all know what she's talking about, the Sunrise Point, the new apartment complex down here at the end of Sunrise. It's white,
Right next
across
to Pastors.
from the Pastors, yeah. Yes, it's called Sunrise Point. It was generating a lot of calls for us. They're placing families there, lower income families there. And when I spoke to their director, they're very aware of that. They're used to it because that's what they do. And she assured me that like I told her, it takes about 18 months for things to for some of the families to settle down. They too are very proactive, and if they have bad actors in their communities, they have certain legal parameters that they have to adhere to. They can't just kick people out. They're there for a reason. That's kind of where we come in and help them kind of solve that problem. But if they do have problems there, they can remove families from there and either place them somewhere else or evict them altogether. And they did evict a few families from there since we had those problems. So I'm hoping that kind of died off a little bit. It kind of seems it has on patrol. But if you guys are still seeing problems out there, then let us know for sure. But have you seen a difference out there at all? Probably in the last year, 6 months?
Well, I personally know someone that lives in the units,
Mm-hmm.
and, it's constant. There's constant
Yeah.
conflict. I was just curious if, by comparison to any other apartment complex, if the calls for them, for the 49 units, does that seem like a high number for them?
Yeah, it can be. And I would just say we make sure that we pay a little bit more attention to apartment complexes like that. We work pretty closely with the management. So we communicate quite often with them. So, but if you know somebody intimately having problems, then that's
Police are involved, so
Yeah,
it's not,
I
you know,
figured.
it's not quiet.
Yeah, we're aware of it.
Okay, good.
You know, the thing is, we had them come to our meetings,
Mm-hmm.
and so for our support, they never ever mentioned it would take 18 months for the complex to
Simmer down.
settle down. So they were very deceitful, to be honest. A lot of their promises have not been kept. So they sold us pretty much a bill of goods. And it's pretty sad. I mean, we were hoping for something that was well managed, well maintained, and I won't repeat what you said, but they dumped a pile of you-know-what right in our neighborhood. So,
Yeah.
we're not too happy with them.
Yeah, I sympathize for you. I mean, nobody wants that. They're here, and I think our role is to make them feel comfortable and within our community and do what we can to, if it's, I know for an example, kids. I know one of the problems is kids kind of running rampant around there. A lot of those kids don't have fathers. They're in jail, and so that's our job. We go out there and we try to talk to the kids, educate the parents, the mothers, we offer them resources, and I mean we do the best that we can to kind of make them feel like, hey, they're a part of the community too, and they have to feel accepted as well. We don't want to make them feel like an outcast. So I think part of that is just allowing them to kind of feel a part of the community. That's the best way that I can describe it, and I think we're trying to do that. Yes, sir.
So, my question has to do with the homeless.
Mhm.
The recent Supreme Court decision, how has that changed the city's outlook and how they handle that?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have all heard the Grant's decision in the Supreme Court. Without getting too in depth with it, basically what the courts are saying is it's not cruel and unusual punishment to not allow people to camp in communities. I think we could all agree it got out of hand, and what was happening was a lot of these homeless or those folks were using that to their advantage, which kind of tied law enforcement's hands as far as holding them accountable. So now that has changed, I think our city's actually done a really good job of trying to maintain that. And I don't like to use the term aggressive, but we were definitely out there holding them accountable even before this Grant's decision came out recently. I think you're gonna see a lot of other communities in the region paying really closely attention, A, to what we're doing, and then B, to that new court's decision. And I think you're gonna see a lot of other cities around here doubling down on holding the homeless accountable, in the excuse of, they're allowed to camp wherever because it's inhumane to not let them. That's not a thing anymore. Now, it has been really hot out, and if we're catching them sleeping in the shade or resting, they are still allowed to do that, right? It's not illegal to sleep. And obviously we get asked that a lot. I had a guy challenge me on that today, actually. But when you have stuff strewn everywhere, you're not sleeping. That's inappropriate, and that's where the camping ordinance comes into place. So that's where we come into play. So if you see that, let us know. It's not acceptable. They can't do it. Like I said, I think Citrus Heights actually is we actually led the way with holding the homeless accountable probably since the beautification thing came to fruition. And other cities are contacting us, asking what we've been doing, and they're starting to model programs after what we've been doing. So I would say that in of itself is a success. Does that answer your question, or was that like way convoluted?
No, I was just curious how
It just
affected-
enables us to hold them more accountable.
Right, how it has affected the city's
Yeah.
focus.
Yeah, it is the focus, for the city.
Well, very good, appreciate it.
Did I go too long?
No,
They
you're
kicked me
fine,
off?
and then afterwards, if people have more questions, they can,
Absolutely,
do the one-on-one with you and
yeah.
go from there.
Well, I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see all of you at National Night Out.
We'll be there.
All right, you better.
Are you gonna be our officer from now
No, I'm filling in
on?
tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, did I talk too much? You don't want me to?
No, we don't know who we have right now, so.
No, I'm just teasing.
Okay, all right. Well, Marijane, give me some time and kind of get some updates on city council issues.
Alright, thank you. So appreciate coming out. We did have, one day in June recently. What month is it? Anybody else feel that way? Where we had our summer recess, so there was one date recently where we did not have a meeting. And then we came back to having our wonderful meetings be on Wednesdays. So if you were not aware of the shift, it happened starting in the month of July, and we are meeting not this week, not tomorrow, but next week. And so please come out. We had somewhat of a light agenda last week. I was just looking over, I did not have time to do an official report, but just looking at the various pieces that we had covered. First of all, does anybody have questions? Let's start there, because sometimes your questions start the best conversations. Any questions? Yeah.
Tell us about the property that the city bought.
Oh, the property that the city bought. Okay, so the property that we made an offer on last city council meeting was the property on Auburn Boulevard that was previously the preschool. So on Old Auburn, right before Auburn, it was the preschool property, which could be used for some animal rescue usage. We're not going to promise that. It is ideal for that, but we can't make any promises because we have to do our due diligence as far as costs, maintenance, regulations. So, but the property is in very, very good condition, and we have high hopes for it. So thank you for that question. That was a good one. We had to do that in a hurry. As many of you know, in real estate, when a good deal comes up, you gotta make it happen fast. And being a city, we are not in the business of trying to own multiple properties. But when it's for public good, we definitely wanna take advantage of that to help our community thrive further. So that was a good question. That was in our closed session, and then we opened it and let everybody know that that's what we were going to do. The other questions that came up, we have our final agreements with the hotel developer. So we gave final agreements for those, the hotel developer, and hopefully in the next few months we'll be seeing some activity out there. We're very, very excited about that. We're hoping that the hotel is a catalyst for further development. And I was in a forum today, and I was sharing this with Sheri, with our chamber, that regionally, the Sacramento greater region is looking at doing a lot of big things as far as workforce development. And workforce development not only develops individuals to invest in their own career, but make investments in the infrastructure in the local communities in order to support what we call tradable sectors. So tradable sectors are like semiconductors and industries that are coming into your community to not only trade within the community, which is local sector, but outside of the community to bring new money into the region. And so we had a large convening of multiple agencies, public and private organizations, to talk about how do we do that? How do we educate kids? How do we educate and put programs together in colleges? How do we support that as a government? And then how do we attract these wonderful corporations to be part of our local ecosystem so that all the cities and communities thrive? And the project locally is called We Prosper Together. You can look that up on the internet, weprospertogether.org. And it is looking at an 8-county collaboration for economic development in the region. So super excited about that. Why did I bring that up? Because potentially Citrus Heights can be one of those communities that industry that's attracted here could find a home here, right? And if we do our jobs correctly as a community, we will be attractive. What I also learned was Citrus Heights employs 25% of the individuals who, only 25% of individuals who work here live here. So we are a great exporter of workers to the rest of our region. Is that good or bad? It's just information. You know, to me that doesn't mean hardly anything because we have communities that have less than that. I think it was Marysville that had 19%. So is that good or bad? No. But we want to have more people living and working in our community simply because we have the economic engine to do so. Any other questions? Dave, that was such a good question. Yeah.
With the new property that you just purchased, that building and so on, would it be advantageous to have something like what is at Sylvan Corners there behind the McDonald's, where the office complex has Pride? It used to be Crossroads, and now it's diversified. Now it's Pride has gone in there, and that's a development also to help educate and help people find jobs, etc. But that facility might just be a really nice new center for that type of.
So if I understand you correctly, you're saying that the new property that's been purchased, it might be a good house for the activities at Pride. That would have to be a larger conversation. That's not something that we have, if you look through our strategic plan, something for animal control was part of our strategic plan versus something for career, workforce development. And also, of course, Pride is a private and public,
Right.
but private as separate entity that runs their business.
Well,
So,
there are other.
and they built that brand
corporations.
new career hub. I don't know that they want to move yet.
No, but there are other type to help develop and train.
Sure. Sure.
I was just thinking it
Yeah.
might be a nice.
Yeah, lots of possibilities, lots of possibilities, and like I said, we have to run feasibility studies to make sure that whatever we're doing is financially responsible. We can't be doing something that, one, our community cannot sustain, or, there are a combination of ideas that we're considering at this point, even another nonprofit occupying the space and running it as a shelter or such, so that we're out of the business of trying to run it as a public entity. Because the last thing you want is your government doing everything.
Do I understand that now we have to pay other counties to take care of our animals? We have animal services, we have to pay someone else to do it, like Roseville or Placer County.
Yeah, correct. So what is the impetus? Why did we buy this piece of property? And it's for over $1 million, you have to ask yourself, why did we do that? So we have contracts with Placer County and Sacramento County for animal control and other animal services. We do not have animal services within our city. And so we went from about under $300,000 spend whichever community, and then Placer County stopped taking our request for service. And so we had to rely on Sacramento County, and Sacramento County decided, okay, we're gonna renew your contract, but it will be $500,000. So with $500,000 annually, we're almost guaranteed to have a rise in that every year, because it's a contract, they get to do that. But do we want to do that, and are there solutions for us to minimize that particular financial impact?
Well, and not only that, you've got animals that are now relocated to Sacramento, so their owners have to drive to Sacramento to pick up their animals.
Yeah, the convenience alone. So, you know, we wanted to have a solution that would satisfy the citizen outcry, because we have a lot of amazing animal advocates here in the city, and we want to make sure that they feel satisfied with decisions that we're observing and we can make on their behalf, while minimizing the cost that all of our citizens are bearing as a result of this. So, yeah, very good. Yeah.
So is that gonna be creating jobs from the city to handle that? Like, if we're not doing any pest control now, you're gonna hire pest people, vehicles, things like that. Is that gonna be an added cost to the city?
That's part of the feasibility study. We really want to make sure that it is fiscally responsible for us to set up whatever it ends up being, because it's not gonna be a full-on shelter. There are a ton of regulations and hoops and costs that would create for us if we had a full-on shelter. So then what is fiscally responsible and what should we do is the next question. How much staff will that take? How many community organizations do we have to encourage to be part of the process? So that's part of the feasibility study, because the other thing of this is we locked it in at a great rate. If for some reason our feasibility study comes back and says, no way, this is not gonna work, because we go to doomsday scenarios and you know, when we talk about these things, if it doesn't work, we can sell this amazing piece of property for, if not what we paid for it, for more than what we paid for it, because we wanna make sure that it actually works and doesn't cost citizens an undue financial strain. We don't wanna have to create a tax to, you know, support the one thing that we thought was gonna be a good for everyone. Excellent question. Yeah, that's it for me.
Very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You know, I did the plumbing on the newest animal shelter, and trust me, there's a lot in there, a lot of things that, anyway, I won't get into details, but yeah, it's not a simple little task of just taking the building and putting in some cages and so forth, so it's a big ordeal. So now our guest speaker, Sheri Merrick, she's the new executive director for the Chamber of Commerce here in the city. We're excited to have you here. Hey, if you're endorsed by Josh Hoover, we're real happy. Josh has had the opportunity to speak to us as a group, and no, we're anxious to hear what you have to say. So it's great to have you here. Thank you.
Well, oh my stars, this is very exciting to be able to come and speak to you guys. I think I hadn't even gotten through my second month before you guys reached out and said, hey, will you come and speak to us? So it's been a whirlwind. I'm just gonna say that. I haven't finished my 4th month yet. But this was the very first chamber that I ever joined 15 years ago. I had no idea what a Chamber of Commerce was, didn't know its mission statement, what it was supposed to do, all the different things. And I definitely got bit by the bug and got very involved with the Citrus Heights Chamber. I ended up being an ambassador, and then was their ambassador chair for the chamber for over 5 years. And I saw so many things that I could change to help the community, and nobody really wanted to listen, and I got frustrated, and my husband said, "Isn't that a volunteer gig? I'm sure there's lots of other chambers that would love your enthusiasm." And I was like, oh my stars, like it was an aha moment. So I went out and I joined 5 other chambers, and really got sucked in by the Folsom Chamber. And I am beyond grateful for that, because once I got sucked in, they had a gap in employment, and I was a business consultant, small business consultant, and they said, hey, we need to contract someone to fill this gap. Would you be interested? I said, yes, that's what I do. I support small business. I would be more than happy to help you with your business development. So I did that for 2 years, and then became an employee, and worked my way through the ranks to ending up as their COO. And I'm so grateful for that experience, because I always kept my eye on Citrus Heights from afar, because I loved this community. It was the very first community I moved to from out of the area. Moved to Arcade Lake, and my little sister who lived in Elk Grove was like, oh my gosh, that's across from Sayonara. That's the worst neighborhood in the whole world. And I'm like, but it's got a gate, I'll be fine, you know? And I was totally fine. I was a single mom. I had met my husband, but we were just dating. And so being with the Folsom Chamber and really getting to see behind the scenes of how a very well-run chamber actually runs was really amazing. And I was able to go to the WACE for 3 years in a row, which is the Western Association of Chamber Executives. And it is 3 days of convention where it is chamber all day long for 3 days in a row. You're just taking class after class after class, learning what a chamber's mission is, what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to run your organization, all the different things. And so for me to be able to have this opportunity to come back with the knowledge that I was able to attain and pump it back into this community makes me beyond excited. It really does. I get my biggest joys from seeing people thrive. If I can make a connection between one business owner with another business owner, and they end up doing business together and both their businesses thrive, that's what makes me want to get out of bed in the morning. And so I've been able to accomplish quite a bit. I keep having to tell myself, Sheri, get off the treadmill. Calm down. You're doing a lot. So one of my biggest things when I first started is our processes. They were very archaic and very time consuming. And Renee, which I'm sure all of you know Renee, she's been there for 37 years. She is amazing. This community is so lucky to have her. I am like, your historical knowledge is just, let me just soak it up. And so I'm like, okay, show me how you do this, show me how you do that. And we laugh about it all the time, because I think my jaw must have dropped, and I'm like, you do what? Because it was so time consuming. I'm like, how on earth do you get unchained from the desk and can go out in the community and get more members and help us serve more businesses? And she's like, well, I can't, this sucks up all my time. So I said, okay, we need to get a completely different database. We need to get a database that has the efficiency that it's automated. I will build it out. I will do all these things, and that's what we're doing. So for the last 4.5 months, that's what I've been working on. Fingers crossed, God willing, we are going to go live with our new database as of August 1st. The fact that you could not purchase a luncheon ticket through our website, and you had to go get bounced off to a third-party website. It was just so crazy to me. And so that has been fixed. That's been fixed for the last 2 months. The fact that you can't sign up to be a chamber member and just complete the process with a credit card online is crazy to me. And that will be fixed, hopefully, when our site goes live on August 1st. Because, you know, I mean, everybody that wants to be a part of our organization has to wait for Renee to have the time to call them and get their credit card number and finish filling out their application, which is just crazy to me. So, we've been able to do that. And I'm glad that you mentioned Josh Shoberg. I mean, my mom reached out to me after I made the decision to do the leap and the change. And she's like, oh my stars, I can't believe you're getting all these accolades. And I'm like, I know. So I don't even know if you guys know, but Congressman Kevin Kiley, who serves District 3, which is Folsom, he actually sang my praises on the House floor in Washington, D.C., and I got a video of that along with the transcript. And I got that phone call right after I got the phone call from Josh Hoover's office saying, we want to name you Woman of the Year. And I was like, what is happening? Am I being punked? Is somebody playing a trick on me? But I believe this role is about serving your community and wanting your community to thrive. And after my very first event back here, I remembered why I was so involved all those years ago, because this is such it's just, you guys are good people. You're good people, you care about your neighbors, you care about each other, you look out for each other, you want your neighbor that owns a business to survive and to thrive. And I wanted to be a part of that. And so I'm super grateful that the hiring committee decided to offer me the position, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that anybody has for me. Hands go up. Oh, look at this. Okay.
To the best of your knowledge, what is the mix of business? You got retail, you got gasoline, professional offices. Do you have a rough breakdown?
I do not in my 4 months. That has not been my focus. However, I am going to let you know that I have grown my board of directors, and I have told my existing board that my goal is to make sure that all industries are represented on my board, because that's how a community thrives. You need to make sure that your chamber board of directors is actually representing all of the industries that you are serving.
Because like when they developed the Sunrise Market District, that has been very successful. You know, the banners.
Yep.
Makes you proud to come into that.
Correct.
And
Yes.
support it. So,
Yes. Most definitely. Most definitely. And I've been blessed to connect with Kathy Lynn. She and I have a great relationship. She is my new little chamber champion, and I absolutely adore her. We meet several times. Just so you know, we are hoping to relocate our chamber offices, because where we're located right now, it's like a treasure hunt to try to find where we are. And we need to definitely have a more forward-facing location, so that if an entrepreneur or a new business comes into town and wants to meet with the Chamber of Commerce, it's not like, well, where are you guys? I can't find you. I was there for 2 months and I had 5 different visitors, and every single one of them got lost. So luckily my board has given me the leeway to find a new location. So hopefully once we get all of that figured out, we will be announcing where we're moving to. And we have a location in mind, but I can't say anything yet, and so hopefully it will be all good. So, Sandrine, you had a question?
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
As you'll probably know, the city has a very large population of home-owned businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I I know the chamber focuses on businesses through the brick and mortar locations. Do you have any efforts or thoughts, and you don't have to like design something right now, but
Yeah.
I always wondered why they didn't try and support or seek out the businesses that are conducted from a residence and find a way to support them and draw them into the chamber, because I know the efforts are really focused on the businesses that have a actual retail business location.
Okay.
But the small business owner that's just working out of their home are the ones that really need the support of the social networking
Yeah.
and resources that a chamber offers. So I'm just wondering if there's any thought, or had anybody ever brought that up? I always looked at that.
Well, it's funny because we've grown. We've grown quite a bit since I started. We've actually met our year-end goal as of the end of June. And a lot of those are actually home-based businesses that are wanting to re-engage and get involved. And, you know, one of the things that I'm really focused on is putting together programming that people find value in. So one of the main reasons that I'm going to this new database is not only is for the efficiency fact, but it's the added value. So every single chamber member will now have the capability to basically have a mini website within our website. They can add their logo, they can add photos, they can add video, they can add keywords, they can add a bio, they can add education, they can add a map. And not only that, we're going to have a community job board, so that if anybody's hiring, we will have a community job board on our chamber website. So anybody that's hiring, they can submit a job onto our community job board. If they have what I'm calling a Zesty Chamber promo, which is, you know, a coupon or something, then they can add that, and that will be a page within our website that we're gonna promote out into the community. So if you want to support local, here's a deal. These are the people that are supporting your community by supporting your local chamber. So go support them, and they're going to give you an offer. If they have an event, they can add it to our events calendar. It's not going to just be for us. It's going to be for the community. Yes, somebody.
As far as, let's see. Your events that you get involved with the business community. I noticed that regularly you have luncheons and something in the evening. Do you get involved in general with the community?
I've been attending all the different community events that the city has been putting on. I've been coming out and trying to engage with the community so that people know who I am, so that if they have a question, or if they have a neighbor or a friend or somebody that's wanting to open a business here or has a business here, that they know who I am and that they feel free to come up and talk to me and engage with me, and I will give a card out, no problem, and definitely come and meet with me. We've revamped our events. We're not done, but we've revamped our events. We actually have a meeting once a month in the morning. It's the first Tuesday of every month. It's our Commerce Community Connections. That's a networking breakfast that allows business owners or business professionals to come. They get a 30-second commercial, so everybody gets an opportunity to stand up, speak, tell people about their business, who a good referral might be, what they're looking for out of the community. And then we always do a tip of the month, so it could be on social media, it could be on AI, it could be on email marketing, it could be on just having a professional presence and how to publicly speak. It could be on all kinds of different things. Then we have our monthly luncheons, so we have something every month at lunchtime, and then we have our commerce community, or our Commerce Connections with a Twist, and that is our monthly mixer that we do in the evening. So we have something in the morning, something in the afternoon, and something in the evening, so that hopefully any business professional or any business owner can at least make one of our events that we hold every single month.
And do you put on like major events in the community, like Sunrise Mall? I was noticing, looking at their website, that there was a symphony, well, there was a music event.
Yeah,
And, they have whatever event, but they're big events.
yes,
And it utilizes that vacant property.
yes.
And so I was curious as to whether or not the chamber gets involved in that, those types of things.
We actually provided volunteers for the Brews and the Burbs, but I've got a lot of goals in mind, just so you know. I was very heavily involved in the Folsom Pro Rodeo for the last 7 years. I was their volunteer coordinator, and I want to bring a huge event to Citrus Heights, but I have to pace myself. People keep telling me, you're gonna burn yourself out, you need to pace yourself. So my 2025 goals are pretty big, but yes, we definitely want to do more community events. We do put on a community awards dinner. We did that within my first 3 weeks of being on the job, and it was the most successful community awards dinner that they've ever had. I had people coming up to me saying that they'd been to that event for 30 years and it was the best event that they had ever attended. So, you know, that was great. We actually have our Best of Citrus Heights event that's going to be coming up in September, on September 19th, and that is definitely open to the community. That's where we will vote, not me, but the community will vote. We use a third party person so that it's not biased in any way, to have the community vote on the Best of Citrus Heights in over 35 different categories. And then we actually announce the winners at the Best of Citrus Heights event. It's gonna be Western themed this year. We're gonna have barbecue, we're gonna have music. It's gonna be a bunch of fun. So mark your calendars for September 19th. The tickets will go on sale soon. We'll have prize drawings, and it'll be a great night. And that'll be at the community center.
And do you have paid staff?
We do. We have 2 paid staff, myself and Renee. We're a staff of 2. Small but mighty.
And so the volunteers then go out into the community, business community, to get other members or to enlighten?
They more support us. So right now my volunteers are more supporting me, myself and Renee. So they'll do outreach to new members to make sure, are you receiving our communications? Have you gotten your invitations to our events? Have you come to an event? If not, come and meet me so that you feel comfortable coming to an event. So they're not necessarily going out and trying to engage in membership, because
So you're building your current membership.
with just Renee and I. Correct, because I feel there's so much behind the scenes that a volunteer doesn't necessarily know, and can't necessarily speak to. I mean, it took me, you know, over 10 years, 11 years, 12 years to truly know what a chamber was about and how a properly run chamber is run. And so I don't want somebody that's not on payroll to be going out and representing us and trying to sign up new memberships, if that makes sense. Because they might not have all the answers, and I want to make sure that our first impression is a good one. Yeah. Yes.
So are you working with Megan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We meet twice a month. Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, and I'm not blaming the chamber on this, but we're seeing so many of our big, you know, nationwide stores are now gone, and we have all these vacant spaces. Do you also look at those spaces, and do you have ways to reach out to different businesses and say, hey, we have this great site right now, would this be something you're interested in?
That's definitely Megan's role. That's not a chamber's role. Unfortunately, the big nationwide brands don't typically join a chamber, because as soon as they join one, then they have to join everywhere that they're located, because it's like, oh, you joined the Citrus Heights Chamber, why aren't you a part of Minnesota's chamber, you know? So they typically don't engage in chamber membership.
Well, I'm just talking like Boston Market's gone, Marie Callender's is gone, Rite Aid, Walgreens. I mean, those are all big block stores, but, you know, they've been sitting empty.
Mhm.
So as you work with Megan,
Oh, we've been
Okay.
brainstorming, trust me.
okay, that's good, that's.
Trust me, I have been, yes, I've made some wonderful connections in my years in Folsom, throughout the region, and I've definitely been tapping into some of them already. So yes, that's another goal that I'm having to chomp on my bit and slow it down a little bit. Any other questions? Yes.
You said you're working well with the Sunrise Marketplace group.
Yes.
Do you ever feel that there's possibility of conflict where you're looking for a greater thing and they're looking for something more targeted?
That has not come up. I mean, like I said, I haven't even been here 5 months yet, but that has not come up. I mean, to me, collaboration is so much better than competition. I mean, you know, hopefully we're all doing these things for the right reasons because we all want to see our community thrive. And one of my biggest things is I really, really try to educate people on making business connections within your local community, because if you do business with each other, then your whole community thrives. The minute you do business with someone outside of the community, now that's half. That's cut half. So that's a big passion of mine, and I'm really trying to push that message forward. You know, before you go to Roseville or before you pick up your phone and go to Amazon, look at the membership directory.
You're talking about businesses, but you're also the residents need to shop locally.
Yes, most
You have those
definitely.
kind of promotions?
Most definitely. That's why I'm doing the Zesty Chamber promos, to try to make everybody, don't pick up your phone and go to Amazon. I will be honest, I was a single mom for over 6 years, and when Amazon first came out, oh my stars, I can't even imagine how much money I spent a year on Amazon. It was insane, because I didn't want to go to the store and drag my 2 children, because my oldest is autistic, very difficult. And so I spent so much money on Amazon. And then when I got involved with the Folsom Chamber, and I learned that all of our public services are paid by our sales tax, boom. I mean, Amazon's lucky if I spend $200 a year. Because if I can find it local, I know it might cost me more, but I know all of the other things that I'm gonna get out of it by shopping local. So, yes, thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions? Yes?
One final question.
Okay.
You said you've been involved with the chamber for a while?
In the chamber world.
Okay, were you ever involved with the Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce when they were at Fountain Square Nursery?
Yes, that's when I was a part of them, before Dignity went in. Yes, where the old city council chambers were there. Yes, I was an ambassador. I was their ambassador chair for over 5 years when I was there.
It's a fun place.
Yes, it was great. It was great. It was kind of sad to see it, you know, demolished, but oh my stars, look at the beautiful city hall that the city has now. It's like, wow, upgrade. Any other questions? All right, well, you all have my information, right? So if anything comes up, you have a suggestion, you have a question, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
You know, I think you made a real good point. You know, where you have a successful chamber, it makes a difference because it helps in unifying businesses where they can work together. And I'm sure we're going to see results, and you know, we're really looking forward to it. We were talking about what do we, you know, our board the other week, we were talking about if we think about Citrus Heights, what do we think about? And we've really had to ponder. I'd like, you know, I think we all agree we need things in the city that people are going to recognize that no one else has. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was kind of bringing up these box stores where you can bring somebody in that will bring in business regionally. Yep. You know, that's very distinct. You know, like our clothing store that works with the, you know, the good old workers that are out there, you know, doing
Purpose-built.
Yeah, purpose-built. And so there's just, you know, we were talking about it, we were kind of struggling with it. One of the things we always said was, we have a great police department. We have a very transparent city council, and also our staff is very transparent in what they do. But if you're not involved like we are,
Yeah.
people don't know it. You know,
Right.
they don't realize what we have. So we're excited.
One of the things I'll tell you, just from my experience of being with Folsom, which built Palladio in the recession, you know, I mean, that was 25% occupied for ever. And luckily, Harry Elliott stuck to it and said, no, I see vision for this community, and we're just gonna suck it up and deal with it. It is bringing in experiential things that will draw people from the region. So that is what Megan and I have been working on, is trying to bring amazing experiential things to Citrus Heights, because Main and Main, oh my stars, the amount of traffic that goes by there, it's insane. I mean, the Sunrise Mall, that was my haven as a single mom. I took my boys to the mall every weekend, and we rode the escalators in Macy's, and they played in the little playground in, you know, I mean, that's what I did. And so I want to help in any way that I can to revitalize that area. So, just so you know, I'm working on it.
Great.
Give me more than 5 months.
No, we're gonna give you plenty of time. So we'll have you back next year, and then you can tell us about all these great businesses you brought in and helped bring in, and how the chamber is growing double.
Okay.
So, no.
Oh, I don't want to grow double, because I want to grow smart. I don't want to grow so much that I don't have the staff to support it. Because when you do that, that's like having a bang up sale, and then you don't have the widget that you put on sale.
Okay, we'll give you 25% then.
Okay.
25% growth.
Yeah. Okay. For a staff of 2, great.
No, then you'll have a staff of 4, see, so you'll increase. Marijane will, never mind. We don't want you leaving what you're doing. Okay. All right, quick comment?
Well, we had, talking about the Sunrise Mall, and I've sort of been paying attention to it, and it's awfully, it's just dirty. You know,
Do y'all know why?
they don't wanna spend the money.
Well, no, so the Sunrise Mall has actually 5 owners
No, I understand.
of that property,
Yes.
and none of them want to work together.
Okay.
The biggest one that owns property is located in New York. So they're not even from California. So that's what they do. They buy the old style malls and they let them die on the vine. And that's where the wonderful city council stepped in and said, yeah, we're not gonna let you do what you think you're gonna do. You're gonna devalue the property and then you're gonna sell it off in pieces. And that's why the Sunrise Tomorrow plan was built, to basically say, no, you're not doing that.
But they are. You know.
They are, but we need that one catalyst to say, I'm gonna be a champion and I'm gonna start the ball rolling. Because once one investor comes
I
in,
understand that.
then it will happen.
You know, we have in the city, we have a slogan right now of beautification.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's one of the biggest assets that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it's just a terrible representation of our community.
Yeah.
Especially when we're trying to beautify our city.
Right?
And our city council has the ability, code enforcement has the ability to say, no, we deserve much better than that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to have. I mean, you go to the farmer's market and there's leaves everywhere, you know, the grass is overgrown. When was the last time that the wind blew to blow those leaves there? And that's how long ago it's been swept. And they made an investment in commercial property. And as a community, I really feel that we should have them honored their own investment, especially since it falls on our shoulders, because that's what we are. I mean,
Right,
my front yard doesn't look like that,
right. I agree.
you know, and they're gonna make a bloody fortune. They are.
Yeah.
So you know, who monitors that?
Like Sheri said, there are 5 owners that is their responsibility. We can't, it's just like you said, you know, you keep up your front lawn. We're not gonna mow your lawn for you,
Okay, but
because it's private property.
I owned a commercial building in Midtown for 25 years. It was on almost an acre. And, you know, we would get graffiti on it occasionally, sometimes once a week. But there's not a chance the city of Sacramento would allow me to just let my property go. There's fines that they could impose on me. I didn't, I took care of my property. But there are other commercial property that, the city just wouldn't allow.
Yeah, trust me, we are doing everything possible.
Well, why
to
don't we
bring-
find them, you know, have code enforcement get involved and find them and make it good. I mean, I understand that we want to, be in good graces with them, but there's gotta be a level of respect that they have for us. That we're not getting, it doesn't appear. I mean, I don't know anything about it, other than what I see when I go to the farmer's market. And I was part of the design team that opened that Sunrise Mall originally. And so I go to design, and pretty. And I just think it's deplorable, I really do.
Who owns the elephant bar? Is that
That's
a larger,
That's a separate owner.
just
Yeah.
that
Yep.
small little
Yep.
chunk? They
Yep.
own that?
Yeah, it's sliced in very interesting ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and truly, I think if you look at the Sunrise Tomorrow plan, it will give you some hope, but as we mentioned, there has to be a catalyst. Someone has to start at the start in order for us to have what we want. I'm gonna say something radical. You are the most powerful entity in this city. You, the citizens, who say, we care, we're not putting up with that. If you start a writing campaign to these owners, because we can only do what we're legally allowed to do
Well,
as a city.
Code enforcement has a lot of.
But we don't have any, you know, we are working with, Kathy Lynn, you know, the Sunrise Marketplace, the P-bid has a lot of power, and they've been given power by those who are part of the bid. Code enforcement, we can only literally enforce what is being violated.
Well, it's a
There-
violation, it's not pretty. You know, I was hoping.
So, and I'm not here to argue finer points with you.
I just don't
and-
understand.
I encourage you though, because we have continuously worked with these owners. And, you know, they'll only do what they're doing. When they trim their hedges, we are just so happy that starts happening, you know, because it looks nice when it happens. We are with you on, you know, the frustration. So don't think we're doing nothing. We are doing what we can do. Because to go beyond that is we're infringing on their private ownership rights.
Not really.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we'll go ahead, this can be,
absolutely right.
we can go on with this
Yeah,
conversation.
Exactly, I'm sorry.
So, I appreciate you being here, I appreciate, that you attend, and you're willing to, you know, that we can ask questions about the city, and we're thankful that we have someone new with the chamber that is excited, invigorated, and, we will have you back.
Okay.
We are gonna hold you, you know.
I'll be back.
So it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Before we close, she's gonna bring up her magic hat, Kathy, and, you never know what she's gonna give away, so. I think, Dave, you're gonna be the one reaching in tonight. He can't see or hear anyway,
Magic
so.
hand.
But I can see fine things. I just can't hear.
Oh.
That's a good one.
Okay, he says it's a good one, you guys. Okay, last four digits, 8086.
Oh, you're so close.
8086. Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I'm sorry, what was your name? Ruth.
See, it's good you came out tonight, Ruth. All right. So next month, there will be no monthly meeting. We invite you once again to come to National Night Out. We are registered with the police department, and they have our information down at the city. So we have been also going around businesses, and we will be posting flyers in our areas. So we take in everything east of Sunrise Boulevard, from the county all the way down to Greenback.
Oh, awesome.
That's our area.
Your little niche
Yep.
slice of the world.
And just so you know, back, I think it was a while back, we actually had the police come in and we talked about the homeless issues over at Food Max and different businesses like Pastors came out. That was one of our more exciting meetings. Sergeant Schaefer handled it very well that night. So we do care, and we go out, we visit businesses to let them know that we're there and that we hear their concerns. So thanks once again for coming out tonight.
That's awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.